Last July, Jake Peavy suffered a detached latissimus tendon in his back. It was an injury that no Major League pitcher had come back from before. And joining us now is the man who performed the surgery on Peavy, Dr. Anthony Romeo from Midwest Orthopaedics at Rush. Doctor, thank you for joining us, and maybe you could explain in layman's terms the best you can about what was involved in the surgery.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having me. When Jake was throwing that pitch that you just saw, what happened is that, and I'll show you on your arm because I think it makes sense here. Jake had his arm back in this position here. There's a muscle in our back which is called the latissimus tendon, and it attaches on the inside of our arm. So as he accelerated that arm forward, this muscle helps participate in that, and that's when the tendon detached itself or pulled off of the arm bone and slid back towards his area in the back of his shoulder.
Wow, that's just frightening. And you were saying that a lot of people who may be more familiar with Achilles tendon injuries, it was the same kind of sensation in his body when it happened.
He knew it right away. He could feel it roll down his arm, and he just wanted to reach up and grab it and support it, almost wanted to pull it back up into place, and that's why you see him position his arm and kind of hold it in this way, because he knew right away that it pulled off his arm bone.
Now, Mark, the perception around the baseball world was pretty much that it's unlikely he was going to be able to return anywhere close to the pitcher that he had been before. Are you surprised at how quickly he's come back? And he looked pretty good in his first outing with the White Sox.
You know, yes and no, but knowing Jake and the battler that he is and the fact that he'll do anything he can to get back as soon as he could, you could never rule it out. But by the same token, as you know, this is very rare. This injury is very, very rare, and the process to get to the point he's at now is very complicated. And I want to ask you, when you're doing the repair, how careful do you have to be about reattaching everything and not compromising his range of motion?
Well, in pitching, range of motion is key. If he can't get his range of motion back to where he can put his arm all the way back here, he won't be able to throw the ball 90 miles an hour. He'll be ineffective, and his career would be over. So we do consider that. Fortunately, this tendon is a little bit away from the shoulder joint itself, and so the concerns about stiffness are a little bit less than we might find if we were working inside of the shoulder joint. And the truth is there actually has been baseball pitchers who have torn or detached their tendon. However, there's been none at the level of Jake Peavy that have had surgery to repair that tendon and have come back into the major leagues. And that was a big decision that Jake had to make. And so some of these questions, such as would he develop stiffness after surgery, were unknown. We didn't know for sure, and it was very important that once we had a very solid repair, that we get him back in the hands of Herm and the staff so he can start working on his range of motion right away.
Doctor, what would be the alternative course of treatment if you did not perform surgery? These other pitchers, what have they tried to do to come back?
Well, in other pitchers, what they've done is they've treated it non-operatively. I think it's been a combination of not having a precedence for having had this surgery before, and then maybe being very unfamiliar with this anatomy and the area where this tendon is at. It's not close to the rotator cuff, and it's in an area where a lot of surgeons have not had an experience with. So they're treated non-operatively or without surgery, and then after 2 or 3 months they rehab them, and then they see how they do. And some pitchers have been able to return back, but we do not have a track record into how long they've been able to return back and how successful that management has been.
Well, Dr. Romeo, thank you so much for joining us, explaining the Jake Peavy surgery. He is going to be pitching on Wednesday. We wish him the best of luck. I know all White Sox fans are excited to watch his progress, and thanks for the great job.
Thank you very much.